Okay. So I don't have a slide for this, but I want to start by saying there really is a need for self-care. Not because of the sort of ooga booga we're exposed to potential entities and demon energy and all of that stuff. But actually, in order to do the work we do, we kind of have to amp up our energy. Can you hear me? I seem to have lost you.
We hear you.
Oh, okay, good. I just can't see you because my, yeah, that's how my screen's working. Okay, so in order, whether we know it or not, the energy that flows through us is amping up. And I think that's probably happening for everybody on the planet as we begin to, evolve along with our planet Earth. But particularly if you have said, I'm doing this, I'm doing energy healing, if you will, then the energy's flowing through you in a big way. So I don't think there's very many people who don't have blocks and various things that can slow the energy down and create some discomfort in our bodies over time, serious discomfort. If you look around, you can get quite a bit of information about energy workers getting sick. They tend to get sick. They tend to get sick in particular when it comes to their livers, because they're synthesizing so much stuff. And so that's just true. And that shouldn't be scary. It should just be motivating to make sure you do the self-care. So that's what I have to say to get us going. Then the next thing is the kind of care we need. There's just daily care, like getting up in the morning and being mindful and all of those things, and we'll go over that. And then there is before a session kind of care, and then there's after a session kind of care, and then there's general life care. So that's what I wanted to cover today, is those four things. So daily care. I think that it's never a bad idea when you get up in the morning to make some sense of yourself. You don't have to do it every single day. On days you're going to be doing sessions, it's a great idea. And I think you can also do self-assessment when you go to bed. Those are great times to just take a minute, check out your body and see how you're doing. If you're finding you're not doing so well, or you're feeling the blocks, which typically if you're a body talk practitioner, you're aware of these things. Not always, but typically, yes. The self-assessment thing here, I'm going to go to the next thing now. Here's the self-assessment as I see it. So take some deep breaths, check in. It's never a bad idea to do that every single day, many times a day, but for sure, just starting your day. Pay attention, seeing if you're having pain or fear or anger, the kinds of things that can block energy flow. And if you see that, it's not a call for you to fix it. It's just a call for you to have that awareness. And if you have that awareness, then you can be honest. You can say, okay, I've got some stuff going on. Can I work with this? Can I work on a client with this? And typically, absolutely you can. But that you've got the awareness is a kind of self-care. It's paying attention to yourself. And when you pay attention to yourself, all those parts of you that are feeling not so well loved start feeling loved. And when you feel that way, you tend to have better flow of energy. It's that simple. And so ask yourself that. The second thing is, once you've asked yourself if you can be honest, if you know you can't work today, know that. Don't force yourself to do something you can't do. It's completely reasonable to reschedule your clients. They don't want to work with you if you can't get that going. But typically you can, especially if you've said, I've got this going, I'm going to be okay. And then, can you be kind to yourself? I think that's probably the most important thing we as practitioners need to learn how to do. And I don't know that all of us have achieved that level of emotional maturity. It takes a lot. I'm kind of just barely getting there. And I just turned 65. So that's all I have to say about that. It's not easy. But if you can just have a conversation over a few minutes when you get up in the morning about whether you can be honest with yourself and be kind to yourself, that's going to go a long way towards self-care, true self-care. So that's what I call self-assessment. The other thing that's a really great thing to do every day is body talk access. It's especially since we're doing body talk, all of us to some extent are doing body talk, using the actual techniques, I think helps gear us and get us into the body talk matrix, and be able to care for our clients, but having taken care of ourselves. So again, every day is best, but particularly on days you've got sessions scheduled, do body talk access. And I preach this all the time, include reciprocals. Don't leave that out. Do the entire body talk access. And there's some people I know who do a couple other techniques that they like. And so, do them all. That's not a word. Particularly with reciprocals, you are getting yourself flowing. You are getting the energy flowing. That stuff I talked about, the amped up energy that you run all the time as a healer, really needs to be able to flow. So you need to turn on all those little lights. See those little lights coming on at every one of the reciprocal points. And really, it doesn't take that long. I have one of our people in this group, Vicky, she does this version of reciprocals where she's running Reiki on every 2 points. And so that takes her a long time, but she says, it feels really good. So if you've got that kind of time, go for it. But I do it pretty fast, and I feel like, so when I say fast, I mean it takes me about 5 minutes to do the reciprocals portion of body talk access, and I feel it. I totally feel it. So make it happen. If you woke up, did a self-assessment, and are really feeling some blocks, once you're done with body talk access, add any other energy moving routines that you are comfortable with and like to do. Go for a walk. Qigong is a wonderful, it's like Tai Chi, only a little more athletic. But all of those, there's a gabillion different kinds of energy moving routines, and I'm sure folks here can talk about that. What you want to do is just make sure you got that energy flowing. It's very simple. You don't want any energy sticking anywhere. So that's the daily care concept. The next concept is before session care. Here's what I do. I've got a clinic, so I am able to, I clear the space with my thoughts. I just clear it, make sure it's all clean and clear and no bumpy, weird stuff, just like you do with your body. Make sure the energy's flowing in your space. I use some sage. I do some smudging. At the same time, I ask for new clients, because that's a puja, if you will. And then I light some incense, and it makes it, those things just make me feel good and make me feel prepared, and they clear the space of any kinds of weird energy, if it's there at all. Then this is all before, for me, before the client shows up. So then I sit for a moment. It doesn't take very long to just make connection with me, and see how I'm doing, what I'm thinking. I use prayer. There's a million things you can do. I wonder if there's really a million. There's a fair number of things you can do to make connection with yourself. But I use prayer. I talk to the Great Spirit. I call in all my guides. I call in my ancestors, the angels that hang with me. It's all about me in that moment. Then I connect with my clients. Sometimes my client's there by then, sometimes not. In either way, I just make connection. I thank the spirits for the opportunity to work with Joe Schmo, my client, and I also use prayer for that. And if they're there, I'm touching them, and I'm just making contact. It's the same for me. I connect mind, body, and spirit with that person or that animal. It's the same kind of connection. It's heart connection, so that I can hear or feel what it is they're sending me psychically that I need to know. It doesn't matter if you use psychic stuff or not, still making connection is the key here. So I'm describing what I do. There's a lot of ways to do it, but having that consciousness that you're making connection now. You made connection to yourself. Now you're making connection with your client. So you're opening up all your stuff, which is important to know, because you're going to need to close it up after you're done. So there it is. That's the opening stuff. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I'm going to move on to after session care. So you've done your session. It was brilliant, and you both cried, because that's what we're looking for, or not. Anyway, for me, I've added check for follow-up with my clients, because I wasn't doing that, and it's really helping me to keep my clients and to have a sense of movement and forward motion, to talk to my client about the session and what they want next. Sometimes there's actually an actual follow-up session called for. There's also just, when would you like to come in next kind of stuff. So once you've got that, then there's thank yous. And I'm not sure what I meant by 3 of these. Let's see what happens. Thank my client. I thank my client. There's a kind of a gratitude space that is a great thing to get into after you've worked with somebody. So I thank my client. Then I thank all of the guides and everybody I called in, the angels and what have you. And finally, I see what the third one is, myself. Thank you. Diana, for being open to doing this. Then I do a disconnect process. And there's, again, many, many, many ways to disconnect. You just need to have that awareness, though, that it's time to let your client go. They actually leave. So that helps with the disconnect process. But there's a couple of things I use. I always go wash my hands. There's something about that action that feels right. It feels like it disconnects those open chakras, and those particularly the ones in your hands, the minor ones, they call them. They don't seem that minor. And then I often, if it's been a very strong, like psychic or mediumship sort of a session for me, I also take my client off because they've been on me, and I take them off like a jacket. So just take off that jacket and I toss it over, and it disappears into the whatever, the orb of energy. Again, I'm sure everybody here and everybody who hears this has their own ways of disconnecting, but you do need to have that awareness and do it. Because you can walk around with a lot of stuff on you. That's not bad stuff. It's just not you, and it's not yours. So it really does help to just close yourself up, not down, just, I guess that jacket removal really helps me, because it's simply taking off the stuff that isn't you and going back to being the pure you again. So that's what I consider after session care. Once you're done with that, then you just need to think about your life as a practitioner. So life care. Absolutely get sessions regularly. I feel like I have been, I was diagnosed with diabetes about almost 20 years ago, and I started getting sessions back then, and I still get sessions all the time, and I have no symptoms. So in my opinion, that's because I get body talk sessions regularly. Again, it's all about flow of energy. The other thing that for me is life caring is continuing to learn this stuff we do. What I love about body talk is that you can, it's unending. It's an infinite amount of things you can learn. You don't have to, but it's really fun to know stuff. Anatomy and physiology, for instance, or particular things that are kind of up right now. I love that it's called for, if you're a body talk practitioner, that you continue to get education. I can't think of the word for it, but you know, you continue to get the marks that you're doing this stuff by taking body talk courses. But taking anything that's about healing or about energy is always going to be useful for you, and keep you feeling engaged and alive in this process. Same with self-growth. It's the same idea. I study a lot of different things. Right now I'm doing dream work, which is not related to body talk at all, but I'm guessing it's going to come up because I'm studying it. So it's going to be in that bottom other modalities thing. Because I'm doing that, I'm feeling like I am constantly expanding and evolving as a human being. Feeling that way keeps your energy flowing and keeps your life force strong. And then finally, doing things that make you feel good about yourself. That sounds kind of silly, but it's amazing what a difference it makes. Just, some of those pay it forward kind of moments, or doing good in the world, however you define that, brings you up and brings you a connection with the universal spirit, if you will. So yeah, do that. And that is all I have to say. Discussion may ensue.
Thank you, Diana.
Sure.
Thank you, Diana.
So I have a question for you,
Good.
because I'm that one, right? What do you think happened? What is your opinion? What happens if you don't do these things?
I think you can get quite sick. And I know that's weird to say because I don't want to be a harbinger. But the thing is, like I say, you're asking, you're calling it forth. Come on through me. And you need to be able to handle that. And part of the reason I considered all those things about self-growth and stuff like that is because the more energy you pull through, the better you need to feel about yourself. Which is a very weird thing to say, I understand, but I think it's really important that you get that you're asking your body and your spirit to keep expanding and be able to handle what's coming through you. And they, whoever's handling all of that, all the guides and angels and what not, really want to send that to you and send it through you. And it's not like they're harming you on purpose, but that can be harmful if you're not also doing the work. I guess it's possible that you're just fine. So I'm not saying you absolutely will get sick if you don't do these things, but it's a better choice to do the things. Vanessa.
I actually wanted to make a comment on what you just said, because I've actually seen it happen. And it didn't just happen, the person didn't, and it's a body talk practitioner in South Africa, where all of the instructors, particularly the South African ones, Vilma and a couple of the other, Morag and a couple of the other South African instructors, when they do, particularly mod 9, but also mod 3 and 6, they actually talk about, they give you tips and tricks on how to actually protect yourself as well. And there was a practitioner in South Africa who she just thought that she could I'm just going to do this. I know what I don't need to worry about. I'm just going to do sessions and I'm going to be just fine. What eventually happened is she ended up getting so sick that she couldn't work for about 3 months. And then what happened with that is her practice, just because the universe looks at this, or universal spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, looked at this and went, I'm not going to be able, like you said, passing it through you. They're all looking at you going, I'm not passing any more stuff through you because look what happened.
Right.
So if you don't actually connect with that and do it, I've seen it happen. Yeah, thank you.
And they do say, I can't remember where I read this. I can't give you sources, but I've read it a lot, that there's lots of practitioners of energy work in particular that have a terrible time with their livers. That's a particularly important organ in this process because it synthesizes all the shit going through you. And so it needs to be top form. So whatever that looks like for you, however you do that, and typically one of the best ways to do that is to make sure you get sessions. But also just that awareness, I think, is really important.
I'm going to just pop in one more time and say, I don't know if I've ever disconnected.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what happens? I get really burned out.
Yeah.
And periodically I get this close to just burning everything to the ground because I'm like, I can't. Well, no wonder I've got like
all the people. They're all there.
Yeah. I'm going to start incorporating that immediately. I have done like the hand washing and stuff, especially if somebody's really, a lot, but yeah. I don't make a steady, regular practice of making sure I have ended the thing. I open it.
Right.
Close it.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. That's going to make a difference.
Yes, Vanessa?
A nice way to do that as well, which really has helped me, and what I do with it is, because I put myself into Mindscape in the morning, before I start my sessions, especially on a session day, I see when my clients arrive at my door, I see them as coming through my lift door. And when they leave, I visualize them leaving out through my door. And that's sort of my disconnect, is me visualizing them leaving. Because then that's gone, the energy, you know, all of that, and then I'll go wash my hands. So that has helped me a lot. If I'm just in, you know, if you're busy and you don't have, when they go out, lift door, and then they are out.
And that is something I didn't include in here, and I should have. Studying Mindscape is a great idea because it gives you all these tools for in and out, and then how you deal with particular things that come through. Yeah. Becky?
I have a nice closing. I think I sent it to people a while back, probably like 6 months ago. I could read it to you guys, and if you like it, I could send it if you want
Please.
me to.
Yes, do.
It's credited to Tina Zion, who it was sent to me by somebody I did a reading for, and she has permission to send it to whoever wants it, which is why I can do it. But it says, send out this commanding invitation. I invite in now a divine and sacred guide who specializes in creating the most powerful cleansing filter for me. And then you say your full name. Sense, feel, perceive, or see your specialist. This is only an invitation. We must then tell them how we want them to take action. Direct this specialist at the end of every intuitive session, or at least the end of every day. Form the most powerful cleansing filter now between me and everyone I have ever worked with. Sense, feel, perceive, or see your beautiful filter before you. Command to the universe and your divine and sacred cleansing specialist. I now bring me and only me back to me, clear and clean, through the most perfect cleansing filter provided for me. With your thoughts and inhaling deeply, pull your energy back through the filter, all cleaned off, and place the pure, cleansed you back into your physical body.
Nice. I love the idea of a cleansing filter.
Yeah.
That feels good.
It says many times you might have perceived dense or negative energy from your client clinging to the filter, but it is no longer within you. So I have it in my little book, so I use it, so I see it and I use it.
Cool. Send it on.
I will. Robin, do you want me to just send it to you, or and you can forward it?
Yeah, do that, please, and I'll include it.
Okay.
Neat.
I think
What?
I was-
Go ahead, Meadow.
I was just going to say that I think there's another piece too, which is about how to become like a better neutral observer. Because I think if we're really attached to like their outcome, or we're trying to fix it, or our mind goes with them out the door because we're really concerned about them, I think that's also a way where maybe we send energy away with them. And so I think there's a place of like when we're in neutral, we can hold them better and in a cleaner way, because it's not about us trying to rescue anyone. And instead, it's because they are going to heal themselves. It's just about us supporting that process and being that sacred witness. And I feel like the closer I get to that, the just less sticky it is, right?
Absolutely.
And then also even to call ourselves back as they leave, you know, so there's not a piece of us that goes with them too. I think Robin, that comes up in my sessions a lot with people, is to call pieces of themselves back, because we do this all over the place. We leave ourselves with things that we're attached to, you know, like we're invested in our work, we're invested in people, we're invested, you know, and then we kind of leave this it's like, hey, come back, like all of me. So I think, you know, if we're not careful, or not so much if we're not careful, if we just have that attitude of real concern and rescuing them, that can be, just want to add that as well. And I definitely have like a waterfall energy. For me, you know, I find that really helpful, just to feel like I'm under a big stream where just everything washes. I think
That's your post session
Yeah, and like with doing family constellations, of course, people are stepping into roles and out of roles. It's really important to make sure people are taking themselves out of that role properly too, so they don't go home still feeling like that person. So I think that's an important, so the lines in family constellations are very simple. They're just like, what's yours is yours, what's mine is mine. So it's like this real like separation, and then I use that energy waterfall.
Nice. Becky, you had your hand up.
I wanted to kind of tag on to the talk about the reclaiming your energy. So I do that every morning. Well, for sure before I do any sessions. And if you just picture a magnetic ball, a silver magnetic ball above your head, like a basketball, and you fit it spinning and it's calling back your energy. And you can feel the little particles and pieces coming back, and it's magnetic. And so you're calling it to you. And then as it slows down, you just picture it, the pure energy sliding down into your crown chakra. And then where it needs to go, the mental or the physical or into your heart, wherever it is. And it's energy that can be 40 years old, calling it back. It's just energy that you've left with people, your family or, kids, or like you say, you're leaving energy everywhere, right? So you're calling that energy back to you every morning. It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can just see the bits and particles coming back and attaching themselves to the magnetic ball and then into yourself as it slows down. Yeah, it's super cool.
What a group.
Yeah, I have one more thing, because I have so many things. I just want to that was really cool to present continuing education as part of self-care, because I'm, first of all, kind of a continuing ed junkie. Like I just kind of want to, I want to know everything and learn everything and da. But it is true. I mean, I guess I want to like agree, because I find that whenever I am taking, like, I'll take a particularly like a body talk continuing ed class, another module or whatever, what have you, Parama, and then for like a month, everything is easier. There's just something about like, I just get around the people. I don't know. It's the matrix,
Is it do you also call clients that seem to need those particular things you just learned? Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what you need is this thing that I just learned. So how handy. But then I feel prepared and I feel like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And I feel like I'm part of a whole thing. And, I just feel connected. And I guess for me, that's like how it relates to caring for the practitioner is when I'm like, and like this little gathering that we're doing right here, like being part of other people that do this work really keeps me going. It really makes me feel like I can, like, this is sustainable. And when I just, have gotten away from it for periods of time, just didn't take a class for a while, didn't talk to anybody, like I start really just feeling like I'm drifting at sea, and just doing body talk on the seagulls that land, you know what I mean? It just feels so cut off from everybody. So I will now tell the IRS that I had to pay for that continuing ed class because it was self-care.
Yeah, of course. There's no question.
Well, I don't even think you need to do that. I mean, it's just part of your business expenses.
Yeah, no, I'm joking about that. It is. I'm joking about that. It's a business expense, but yeah, it's also a self-care. It does feel good to me to continue my education. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, sure.
I think when we're coming, like, just practically too, I mean, I think there's also, sometimes we miss just the practical things of like caring for our bodies. I mean, we need to have financial well-being and like stability in our lives to be able to offer that to our clients too. I mean, super basic stuff that I think sometimes, I don't know that anyone here fits into that category, but I think, sometimes healers can get kind of rocked off their, practical, like can be a sort of way with the fairies sometimes, and not look after the practical, good, healthy, like exercise, financial well-being, stability, things that really work for us. I mean, I think all of these things are things we also need to take care of and do sessions if we need them, or yeah.
Okay, does anybody else have, thank you so much, Diana. Thank you
Sure.
very much. That was
I'm sort of
just
shocked. I pulled it off.
I'm
I
not
thought-
shocked at all. We're not
When-
shocked.
When you
Not at
mentioned it to me, I thought, do I do self-care?
Of course you do.
Yes.
Yeah,
Of
you
course.
do.
Of course.
And I've been in your access classes, and you really, are sharing the message of using Body Talk Access as part of an overall self-care routine and how important self-care is. So I've heard you talk about it. So
Right.
yes. So thank you. Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments or questions or anything along those lines? This will, of course, the recording will go out, and then we edit it a little bit, and then the lesson, the little presentation, that's the word that I'm looking for, will go on the website. So
Should
y'all
we
can-
though? I feel like the wisdom people offered in response to it was.
oh no, I mean just the beginning part.
Oh,
the
okay.
beginning part, and maybe this end part.
And this part. Yeah. Okay, good, good.
I edit that out. So
Thank you for doing that.
for posterity, so that 1,000 years from now, we can be like, oh my God, Diana was so smart and brilliant. So that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Thank you
That's
all
right.
so much. You are here on a beautiful summer evening.
Yeah.
And just so your commitment means a lot to me, and you guys keep me going, and you keep my practice feeling strong. Like my ability to show up for my clients is supported by being part of this group in profound.
Likewise. Thanks so much.
Definitely.
So thank you, everyone. Oh, and yes, Becky, if you would send that to me, I'll include it in the follow-up.
Yay.
And I'll send the mod 6 stuff, and yeah, let's all go be awesome.
Go be awesome.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
See you soon.